So
how do you know that?
Yeah, he talked about it earlier.
We don't know how that cat identifies.
That's true.
Good point.
So right, exactly. That's different. I'm actually very intentional in my word usage there, because sex is something you're born with, gender is something you identify with, apparently, or you know, that's the idea. So you know, and I mean, and honestly, that's a word that's been used in science long before any kind of cultural stuff. Like scientists talk about the sex of an animal, humans talk about, you know, their gender. So I disagree with almost everybody on here. I happen to agree with Rob.
What is it?
That's
And-
like, it's the cantaloupe.
And Logan, I also agree with, are the only two people that said male. And what I think everybody went on is with size. I'm guessing that everyone else looked at this and were like, oh, it's super small.
That's round.
I was trying to look at
So that's male.
What?
Yeah.
The wide is male.
Very round, short, stubby toes. Not narrow teardrop-shaped toes. So teardrop-shaped toes are really helpful.
That looks like a
And,
teardrop to me.
What's that?
That looks like a teardrop.
No, but this one,
Those are round.
these, especially that one, is really
These
totally
toes are
round.
very round.
Right.
I think this is the same bobcat we had around there. I mean, this is the same one I've been seeing this whole
The
time.
one's up there.
Oh, there it is.
Then this one here?
Yeah, up there.
Oh, a larger one, or do you think same one?
I aged it about the same, but it could be a different
What
one.
made you say that?
Ask
You're asking.
him. Ask him.
Yeah.
You asked him. It's round.
It seems full to me.
I just remember Dave told me one time, he goes, if they ever ask
Yeah,
a
hey,
sex
let's hear. I
question
wanted to hear
on
what Rob
Cyber
had to say on this too.
Just,
Why didn't you tell us that?
yeah. That
Oh,
would be good to know.
wow, I can't tell you that on the
No, I
eval.
don't mention that.
Before we got started.
Oh, well, I guess I could have said that then, but.
Go ahead.
Oh, just something Dave told me. Dave was like, dude, every eval I've ever taken, he goes, if they ask what sex is, any type of feline, he goes, it's going to be a freaking male. He's like, I've
Really?
never had.
No, I've asked females plenty of times.
He goes, I've never been asked a female question.
That's
He's like,
terrible advice.
Yeah.
That is not how to learn.
yeah, that's just what he said. He goes, but remember our specialist eval in Big Bend, it was a male.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So we're
according to his
We're
experiences.
saying the more round the toe pads,
Yes.
it's
Yes,
a male?
the male.
I have never known that.
So there's a few things we can point out, but I wanted to hear. Rob was trying to
California
explain
traffic
this.
sign
biggest
gives a
thing to
little
me
bit
was
of.
looking at the palm pad, where in these curves in here, if it's curved in, if it's skinny like the toes, if they're skinny, but if this pad is skinny on three aspects, on the sides here and the front, the broader straight line across, that's typically male characteristic, and the skinnier one you'll see more of an arch, or the two lobes are going to show more prominently for a female. And these edges here, there will be more curved, just a skinnier palm pad for the females and fuller for the males.
Like, and that's the general, like the whole general thing is everything's fuller, and I like to think of it as like a balloon. And so a female, all those edges are real concave, and if you take blow a big breath of air into the balloon, it's like it all fills up. And so that's when males look like. The toes, instead of being oval like this, they're all very round. The pad itself doesn't have these big concave edges. Instead, it's filled up and much more rounded.
What was throwing me on it was negative space in between the toes and the pad, and in between the toes themselves. Can you speak to those spaces, maybe?
That it was
There was more space. That, to me, that was an indicator towards female, that there was a good amount of space in between the toes. Where typically the male toes, when they fill up, they're going to close in. You're going to have a really narrow ridge between them.
So what I've tended to see is, so females, because that pad is smaller, there's actually like, they tend to be more asymmetrical. So like there's not quite as much room for all those toes to be spread out. And so the toes are kind of like, actually,
That's hard.
here, excuse me, right here. I have a visual aid, I believe. So these are from Louis Liebenberg's books, and these are drawings of leopard tracks. So female on the top, male on the bottom. But the same rules apply for all cats, right? So bobcats and stuff. And so notice how this hind foot has a leading toe on the female, because that pad is so much narrower. It's like you got to squeeze those toes in there, versus the male, the hind foot, is more symmetrical. So that's one thing that that it seems to be fairly true with bobcats as well.
So, is there a rear foot here? And does that look about the same size as that one?
Yes.
And is there not usually some kind of discrepancy in size between the front and the hind on a male?
I don't know.
I think there usually is.
I've not
So not-
really found that to be helpful. Yeah, or studied that really. I mean, the deer, for sure. I mean, the deer. That's like one of the ways to tell male and female apart.
Right.
Is looking at that difference in front and hind size. But I've not ever
Not a,
heard or seen anything with bobcats or other felines that would indicate that.
okay.
What about a more linear look on a female? Like, if you drew a box around the track's perimeter, would you see a male being more square in proportion or wider?
In
while
general, yeah.
females are
A little bit
more
narrower.
stretched rectangular
In general,
along
yeah.
the path of travel?
But and again, that's just part of that whole like everything like being more robust, wider, more inflated, swollen.
Now, would you say that this is a young male?
I would definitely say it's much more on the small side. Yeah. And so my guess, what I was wondering is, if people were, yeah, that came from an Indian paper.
I know, I'm
They,
just messing with
they
you.
might not be as specific with their English.
Some sunlight.
So, yeah. So anyway, my guess is that those.